If you like playing as the Arcstrider and are thinking, God damn, what is the best skill tree to use in PvP? This right here is going to be the video for you. We're going to go through it right now, and we're going to dissect why I believe that the Way of the Current is the best subclass / skill tree available to the Arcstrider for the PvP, for the Crucible, for all levels of play. Now, this is actually more of a difficult decision than I thought it was going to be, and it comes down to 2 skills that the Way of the Current has available to it. And that is why I think it just tops the other 2 skill trees that the Arcstrider has available to him. And I'm going to start breaking it down now. One of the most crucial ones, probably the most crucial one, is Whirlwind Guard. While wielding your arc staff, hold down LT to deflect incoming projectiles. Deflecting projectiles triples arc staff damage for a short time. Now, this is very effective in PvE and also in PvP. Now, in PvP, you're not really going to get to use that much of the tripling the arc staff damage, but what you are going to get to use is the Whirlwind Guard protecting you in them vital moments when using your super. If you guys have played the Arcstrider for a while now in Crucible, you'll know that it's not the strongest super when it comes to chasing down enemies, when it comes to closing the distance with enemies, and when it comes to fighting other supers, purely because people can run away from it very easily. You don't move that quickly, and plus you're kind of squishy in the super. You can't evade that easily. Yes, you can move kind of erratically, but it's going to drain your super very quickly, potentially before you get to your opponent. So this super was really crying out for something like this that allows you to move towards an enemy and gives them a decision. If they want to turn and run, you can chase them with your... So you can close that distance very quickly. But if they want to stand and shoot at you, you can block the damage and still progress towards them. And it closes the gap. And in closing that distance with them 2 different ways I've just mentioned, it makes this super a lot more useful and makes it a lot more versatile in a lot of different situations. Not only that, does it protect you from multiple enemies, you feel a bit more comfortable engaging multiple enemies, but you can also take on opposite supers. You're going to see in the background now, me taking on a Golden Gun, and I'm able to survive the actual Golden Gun blast. Sadly, I don't get the kill in the end, but I'm able to survive them Golden Gun blasts, whereas if I wasn't using Whirlwind Guard, I would not be able to survive at all. So Whirlwind Guard really allows this super to go to the next level, allows it a lot more versatility, and generally allows you to take on other supers. Now, you're not going to beat every single super outright. You've got things like Nova Warp absolutely destroying the Crucible at the moment, but things like Golden Gun it's effective against, things like rocket launchers it's effective against, things like Blade Barrage. Now, Blade Barrage is one you have to be careful of. You can absorb a whole Blade Barrage with this Whirlwind Guard, but you have to be very careful. If they aim it at the floor, you are going to die, but if they aim it actually directly at you, you can sponge it all and survive it. So if you get a bit more advanced when using this class, there's a lot of outplay potential with it. You can potentially use it, pop it, bait them into using their Blade Barrage, and potentially you have the potential to Whirlwind Guard, block all of that incoming damage, and then clean them up for the kill. Not only have you got rid of their super, which is very OP right now, but you've also picked up the kill. So there's a lot of outplay potential with this super, and it's the main reason why I believe it is better than the other 2 skill trees available to the Hunter. Just really takes it to that next level with the outplay potential. But now I'm going to look at some of the other perks that the class has available to it. Tempest Strike. After sliding, activate this melee ability to unleash a devastating uppercut attack. Now, this is actually quite a nice melee ability for the Hunter, something that gives it a little bit more versatility, a little bit more of a mix-up, and a little bit more range. Now, I generally like to use this when I'm baiting people through doorways. You're going to see a clip of me in the background here where I know I'm potentially going to be pushed by enemies, so I throw a grenade in the doorway, and I also slide and use my Tempest Strike, and that's enough to take out the incoming enemy, and then I'm ready for the next engagement. Now, one of the other benefits of Tempest Strike is that it throws you up into the air once you have unleashed your devastating uppercut. Now, you may not think this is a benefit, but actually it is, because when enemies are trying to push you, and when you've just used this ability, it's going to make it more difficult for them to predict for where you're going to be. Throwing yourself up into the air quickly is an easy way to shotgun bait people in if they're running through a doorway, so they're most likely going to expect you to be to the left or to the right, or where you last appeared on their radar. They usually will not expect you to be above them, and then when you have that aerial advantage, it's very easy for you to then shotgun, melee, or just generally get the first hit on your opponent. There's a good saying in first person shooters where the first person to have line of sight on the enemy is the one that has the advantage, and by doing this, by getting out of their line of sight, it creates a slight advantage for yourself. So it's just a slight benefit of Tempest Strike to think about when you are using it when you're getting into the higher levels of play. The next ability, Ebb and Flow. Hit a target with an arc ability to electrify them. Meleeing electrified enemies disorientates them and grants grenade, melee and dodge energy. Now this is more of a PvE perk sadly, but still has some uses in PvP. The fact that you can grant grenade, melee and dodge energy after meleeing an electrified energy is actually pretty useful, but something that you won't be able to take advantage of all that often. But nonetheless, here's a good example of when you can use it. After you hit someone with a Tempest Strike, your enemy will be electrified because it's an arc ability. So then if you're able to clean up the kill with one melee hit, something that is lightly possible because the enemy will be weak and you will be able to kill them with one melee hit, you are going to start to get your grenade, melee and dodge ability back. So it's a nice synergy perk when it does come off, but sadly probably won't happen all that often due to the perk being more PvE based. Moving on to the next perk, Lightning Weave. Melee hits greatly increase weapon reload speed. Now again, a synergy perk, but one that's not all that useful for the PvP game mode. You are going to be able to hit enemies with your melee abilities, for instance Tempest Strike, but doing it is only going to give you a slight reload speed advantage when you can just get your reload back with your marksman dodge. It makes the perk kind of not that useful, but still it might come in handy in some situations, giving you the boost to the reload speed when you really need it. You might find it useful in some engagements. I just kind of wish this perk was replaced with something a little bit more useful for PvP. But nonetheless, the main reason why this skill tree wave the current is the best is purely because of Whirlwind Guard and the fact that you've got Tempest Strike. The other two perks are just kind of slight benefits on top of that. If they would be better, this class would be even greater. Now we're going to take a look at some of the exotics that make this class even better. First off, we have the Knucklehead Radar. Provides radar while you're aiming, enhanced radar while crouched. Now this is very good because information in gaming is key, and the more information you can have on your enemy's position puts you in a much better power position to take on any engagement. So when you know where your enemies are while you're aiming down sight, that's vital information that's going to allow you to go into the next gunfight with the biggest advantage possible. So Knucklehead Radar is always one I'd recommend for PvP. Another one here is the Raiden Flux. Changed arc staff hits, buff, damage and duration. Now this is very good because obviously anything that's going to increase the amount of time you have in your arc stash is a big benefit. Would I use it over the Knucklehead Radar? Probably not, but still one that if you have it, definitely throw it on if you don't have a better option. You have the Lucky Raspberry here as well. If you're a big fan of using them arc bolt grenades, this is going to give you a big advantage and allow you to get it back a lot more quickly. You have the Stompies, an absolutely fantastic overall hunter exotic that just buffs your overall movement, buffs sprint, slide and your jumping. So a very nice quality of life exotic. And for me, the best one at the moment, if you can get your hands on it, very unlikely though because it's a new Forsaken exotic and they're very rare, is the 6 Coyote. Gain a second dodge charge. The ability to have a second dodge charge really allows you to escape more easily and also attack with a lot more versatility. Now, I really like this exotic, and if you are a high level PvP player, I'm sure you can see the value in this as well. Now, for those of you that do have this, I definitely recommend putting it on and getting good with it because I believe it will be able to take your game to the next level with the mix-ups and potential that it gives you. But this has been it from me, guys. I really hope that you've enjoyed this series on the best skill trees available to certain subclasses. If you agree with what I've said in this video, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you disagree, I'd like to hear from you as well on why you think other classes or other skill trees are better than the one I've listed in the video. But I'd like to thank you all very much for watching, guys, and have a great day.